What an honor I have. I'm sitting with the Mayor of Jerusalem, Nir Barkat. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for joining us.
My pleasure, Mark.
I've already seen your remarks at the conference. We've been honored to be able to televise this, not only on the Jerusalem Post website, but all over America on Shalom TV. You were fabulous. And
thank you.
I have spoken to other people who heard you, and there was universal acclaim. And I hope you know, but I want to make sure you do, and then I want to hear you respond. It was extraordinary to hear the progress you have been able to make as mayor of Jerusalem over the last, I guess it was 5 years, 6 years. You showed us graphs. And my first question is, as you look now at the vision you've had for Jerusalem and the success you've had, what's next on the agenda? What do you feel is very important in terms of, I'm not talking about politics now, but developing a city? What is your goal at the moment?
Well, there are multiple layers to the strategy. You've got to progress on all fronts. You've got to progress on the economy, which is extremely important, and tourism. And then side by side, to create a demand for the city, you have to work the infrastructure, to scale. To get to 10 million tourists a year is a huge undertaking.
Where are you now?
We're getting close to 4.
And you want to get to 10.
Yeah, we have to get to 10. For Jerusalem to fulfill its role, it must be a destination for pilgrims and tourists. And so what we're doing is I'm pushing the city to scale to its role, to its opportunity, to its potential, to its vision.
You talked about how many hotel rooms you now have. Do you now have enough hotel rooms, or do you need more still?
I'll tell you, before, when the hotel occupancy was 40%, no hotel investor had the motivation to invest. So now that we're in the close to 70% hotel occupancy, some of them exceeded 70%, now they have a very strong appetite, especially that they buy into the vision, they see the city scaling, and so now they see that it's worthwhile investing. Now, side by side to that, the national government is now helping us with 28%, 28 cents on every dollar invested in a new room. So there's applications for 5,000 hotel rooms in the pipeline. That's how we know, because we register how many of them are seeking the
subsidy. Right.
Yeah. So it is about scaling there, then it's creating more and more events. That is on one side. On the other hand, we're investing in education, improving the quality of life, the quality of education, the quality of life in general. And they all together mesh up to one strategy and make Jerusalem more attractive for young people, for investors, and for visitors.
Mayor Barkat, one of the things that I've heard, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, which disturbs me, is that there are many Israelis who go their entire life and never visit Jerusalem. A, to what extent is that true, and what's your reaction to that?
It's true, and the best way to get them to Jerusalem is make Jerusalem very attractive.
Yes.
Integrate Jerusalem into the public schooling system, which is what we've been doing, make sure that they have to come as part of school, and complementary to that, just make it extremely attractive. Make it worthwhile for people to come and go back home and say, wow,
yes,
here's what I saw in Jerusalem and we got to come back again, or recommend people to go. Thank God, in the last 2 years, Jerusalem surpassed Tel Aviv in internal tourism. More Israelis, internal tourism. More Israelis now come to Jerusalem than to any other city in Israel. I anticipate that progress will continue because we are now in the lead position in terms of creating new projects and ideas, like the marathon, like the Formula One I shared with you, and like the Light Festival in the Old City, which is extremely interesting.
Gorgeous too, isn't it gorgeous?
Yes, it is. And so we are now seeking the path of how to lead many, many of initiatives. Our largest sports complex, it's an international sports complex, hosting the Maccabi Games, hosting international games. We are now building Jerusalem to that opportunity, to that leadership, and it's going in the right direction.
That is wonderful. Then you spoke about an issue which is very, very important to American Jews who look at Israel, care about Israel, want there to be peace for the state of Israel. And there's so much movement, so much hope behind the present peace initiative, even though right now it seems to be in real trouble. But you spoke about Jerusalem as an undivided city. And that when we ever hear the discussion of a two-state solution, there always is a suggestion that the Palestinians are going to want East Jerusalem or a part of Jerusalem as their capital. And my question for you as mayor and as a Jewish mayor who really cares about, and you mentioned this in your remarks, you care about every borough, every section of Jerusalem, including ones right now that are populated by Arabs. What do you see as a realistic, reasonable future for Jerusalem, given the fact that it is such a hot button item in the peace process?
Look, there's only one model Jerusalem will ever function. We had it functioning for 1,000 years and dysfunctional for 2,000 years. It's very, very clear that the DNA of the most important city in the world, the holy city, has to be mutual respect, open for all, united city. It will never work otherwise. No city in the world, not one, has ever been functional as a divided city. There's no such model. There are no people with two heads. There are no cities with two identities. It'll never fly. Therefore, I recommend to take Jerusalem off the negotiation table and focus on how to make it successful the way it is now, the way it's striving. As a matter of fact, it's a good opportunity to invite the world to come, invest, make Jerusalem even better, come and visit, see in your own eyes. You know, Jerusalem is one of the safest cities in the world today. So we must be doing something right. The fact that our economy is going up, tourism is going up, crime's going down. It's not broken. Don't fix it. Let us develop to our opportunity.
Let me push you just one more moment. Supposing it's not about a divided Jerusalem, what if in essence what we're really saying, or what the people who are behind the peace process are saying, is there should be two separate cities, a large Jewish Jerusalem and a small Palestinian Jerusalem with its own government, its own municipality?
Stop playing games. Okay, we all understand the motivation of, God forbid, dividing the city of Jerusalem, and we must say no. No, the answer is very simple, no, and move on. It's about how to develop the city, continue developing the city, and this is what we're doing and we must do in the future. And in many, many ways, ignore all these noises that people are throwing ideas that will never touch ground, that have no chance of becoming successful. These are bad deals. And we must say to a bad deal, no. Okay. Simple no.
In general, by the way, are you in favor of a two-state solution?
I don't know what that means. And really, it's theoretically, I don't know. Okay? Practically, show me a deal. I'll tell you if I could live with it, what the risk associated with it is, who's standing on the other side behind the deal. To just sign a deal that will never, nobody can stand behind it, that's easy to say. And unfortunately, when you look at our neighbors, I don't see anybody that has the merit, the understanding, the stand to do a deal and stay alive and not get killed the day after. So with all these theoretical discussions, one must be very, very practical and ask ourselves, who are we signing a deal with? I don't see that person representing the vast majority of the Arab population around us. So what one must do right now is manage the conflict, not necessarily resolve it. Look with an open mind and an open and lots of wishes into the future, but be very practical and realistic about where we stand and what people offer to us.
You spoke very movingly in your remarks about how there are Arab Israelis who would never want to be part of either Palestinian state or outside of a Jerusalem that was not part of Israel as a whole. Tell us from your perspective, what's been the arc, as you have been mayor of Jerusalem, about the conditions of the Arab Israeli and how they are or are yet to be integrated fully into what your vision is?
Well, what you got to do is invest honestly and fairly with all residents and all constituencies, because that's what the Bible says. You got to do it. You got to be very honest and fair with all. And so you take the position people are in, and you, from year to year, from month to month, you got to improve their situation. We do that to all constituencies, of course, including the Arab residents of the city of Jerusalem. It's very important for me to make sure they feel respect and they return respect. And that is the direction the city is taking. As a matter of fact, for people that understand the importance of unity of Jerusalem, it's very intuitive. It makes it more difficult for people that, God forbid, would like to divide the city, because the fact that we deal with those gaps and close gaps and invest makes people closer, makes the Arab population closer to us, which in turn strengthens and unites the city of Jerusalem. So by dealing with the past neglect, it serves the people that understand that Jerusalem has to be a united city. And it pushes away people that want the city divided, because they realize that by improving the quality of life of all the constituencies, it improves the situation of Jerusalem and improves the unity of it. Therefore, some people get confused these days about the direction Jerusalem is taking.
Yes.
For me, it's a very simple thing. You got to improve quality of life of all residents, and that's how Jerusalem becomes more and more united by the day.
Let me ask you one more issue. It's an issue, again, that matters a lot to American Jews. The whole idea of pluralism, American-style Jewish pluralism in the State of Israel. And one of the loci of this is the Western Wall. And that became symbolic of what American Jews want to see happen to the State of Israel. And lo and behold, with Natan Sharansky and some other very, very creative people, and you're one of them, we now have another section open at the Western Wall. And so there are American Jews who often say, you know, I want to feel more at home in the State of Israel, and Jerusalem has become too Haredi, too Orthodox. From your perspective, what do you see as the Jewish character you want for the city of Jerusalem?
My strategy is do more, be more considerate all the time. More consideration, more things done. And indeed you see that new things are happening, like the marathon and the Formula One and other things in the Light Festival. They're all deep into Jerusalem, and we're very thoughtful and considerate in the way we do it. And sometimes I get comments on, well, this party and that party has some comments. We always listen, and usually we are very considerate, because there's room for everyone in Jerusalem. And one has to understand that it's not only your way in Jerusalem, because if it's only your way, eventually it's not Jerusalem. Jerusalem, people have to compromise with respect to different opinions, different thoughts, including in the Western Wall. By the way, there were always 3 sections. It's not something new. I've seen bat mitzvahs of
Absolutely.
Reform bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs on
By
the 3rd
Robert's
section.
correct.
Now
Absolutely.
it's more developed.
That's correct.
And I think that
It's more formal now.
It's more formal, but you could have done that before, so there's no real change. And I see people requesting all kinds of changes in status quo. I think status quo is a very delicate thing, and when you want to create changes in the city of Jerusalem, put gloves on, be very, very careful in the changes you want to propose in the city, because what's good for the one is bad for the other sometimes, and you've got to be really, really considerate. So my message to all our American brothers and sisters is, it's not either or, there's room for all, and we've been demonstrating progress for all sectors in the city of Jerusalem, side by side. And a little bit consideration gets us a long, long way.
You know, I think you're fabulous. I've told you this off camera. I've been watching you now for a number. When did you first become mayor of Jerusalem?
2008.
2008. So you're now 6 years into this, right? Kol tuv hatzlacha to you.
Toda rabba. And see you next year in Jerusalem.
Absolutely, and you're doing something remarkable for the
Thank you,
Jewish
sir.
people, not just the State of Israel,
Thank
the
you.
Jewish people. Kol tuv hatzlacha.
Toda rabba.
Nir Barkat.